That's in line with like going to a wedding and wekaing all the food you can find on your plate and then wekaing a watermelon on the top because like, like
Welcome to another episode of Breaking Hertz. This is episode 4. As usual, ni mimi Hafare, aka Mr. Metronome, aka your girlfriend's boyfriend, aka Rodney Malik Casino. And as usual,
it's Sookie, aka Jessica Rabbit, aka Uzumaki, aka Anita Murage, aka
umesahau.
Nimesahau aka zangu zingine.
Yeah.
But tunashinda tukibuild.
Of course, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes. It's good to see you all for yet another week.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone who's been
Music
listening,
hotcakes.
sharing, and everything. Sindio, all those good things.
Yeah,
like, I really hate when people always like...
And for the music suggestions, they're really good.
Yes. Actually, somebody suggested an album for us to review, which we shall talk about in a bit. Anyway, how was your week though?
I had a good week. Lots of new music came out, so I was fed for most of the time. I didn't have to sit with my thoughts. Thank you to musicians everywhere for that
Sitting with my
tireless
thoughts.
service. But more importantly, how was your week, Mr. Hafare, birthday yako?
Hey, Mimi, by the way, my birthday was last Thursday. We record this on a Monday, by the way, so my birthday was last Thursday, and I had to deal with the, cold grip of mortality around my neck. Sure, because that kind of fucking ass, maze. Like, I'm starting to worry about things my father used to worry about.
The cold grip of mortality.
Like, sure, it was not. It was a birthday, yes, and I enjoyed it. But hey, at the back of your mind, kuna sauti nakwambia tu, alafu sasa.
Maze.
Alafu sasa. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The complete breakdown of my mental state should not worry you at all. Let's get into it. What have you been listening to this week?
All right. So I listened to quite a few things, actually. I was looking for collaboration albums or compilations. Last week, Drama Africa released a compilation called Yamen, which is the coolest name for a compilation I've heard in a while. Mao from Nowhere is on there. But I think it's a bit more, it's Afrobeats, so a couple of West African artists as well. Since we're always talking about intercultural wars in like the African music scene, this is one of the few, okay, not one of the few, like it's a more recent compilation that shows us that we sound good when we're all together. And, you get to, I guess, explore like the discographies of completely new artists when you check out a compilation album. So Yamen was really good. I think if you're looking for more compilation albums like I was, you should also check out Full Condition by Tangaza Magazine.
Ooh, Full Condition.
2
has a
2.
song called Shakes McKenna.
Yeah.
That is like, if you like drill, it's Brooklyn Boys and
Shout out to
Lucorito.
Lucorito.
Yeah, Lucorito, exactly. It's a really good song. One of the best songs I had last year, I think.
Yeah, it was really
It did
good.
drop last year, yes?
It did. Yeah. I think they'll be having another one this year. Fingers crossed. Tangaza, if you're watching, tuambie.
I know Lucorito watches this. Shout out to the homie. Eka heart kwa comments if you're watching.
And I'll just get into, I had so many other listens, but I think I'll just like PTR them juju. I was listening to Kazi Kwa Vijana, Mr. Lou, and Kabi. Yet again, I've been listening to it almost every week since it came out, but this time I wanted to have like a more critical ear about it. I have been a fan of Lou's for a really long time, and this is probably one of my favorite projects of his, besides Gwez Tapes. And I love it because I love the way that he brought out like Kabi's talent in a different way. Like there's stuff that Kabi has had out since 2016 that I found really interesting, but this particular album stood out for me because it's Kabi in his self-care bag. It's Lou like probably at the zenith of his career. He's really grown into his sound, grown into the kind of things that he's been experimenting with since
Moving to Shago helped him.
the beginning. I gotta say, shout out. Ushago is good for the beats, man.
Ushago is great for creativity, man. Hewa safi will open up your brain. Nakwambia tumezoea vumbi, moshi ya nduthi, moshi ya trailer in Nairobi.
Vumbi na mashida.
Exactly. Move to Ushago. Like maziwa ni thick.
See some trees every day when you wake up in the morning.
Eat a mango. Live the life white people think Africans live.
Yeah, so Kazi kwa Vijana, run it up if you haven't. Ekumbo also released an album called Nani. Who else released something that, like, do you know Cameron? No. Of course you know Cameron. Like Killer Cam.
Oh, shit. I don't know. Yeah, of course I know Cameron.
So yeah, Cameron has a new project out. It's called You Wasn't There, produced by A-Track. I was listening to it on Friday before leaving the house for Zidunda. So
hey, shit. Ushirati.
Yeah, but it's not the right time to listen to it, so I'll definitely be going back to it this week. But you should also check that out. CK's project, Sad Romance, was my first listen of Friday morning. It was really good. I listened to it twice, actually. I've already listened to it. I think thrice now. I go to different parties and keep playing it because it's so good. So please run it up if you haven't. Natural Brown Prom Queen, on your recommendation, Hafare.
That was really good. Sudan
Archives has a new project out. That was amazing.
It's one of the better albums I've had this year, actually. It really is.
It's like, definitely up there for me as well.
It's so all over the place, but in a controlled chaos type of way.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I guess my favorite genre of babes is like babes with the last name Archives. Like I've been really.
What the fuck? Are there more than one?
Her name is Brittany Parks, but Sudan Archives is
yes.
There's Nia Archives. Okay. If you're into drum and bass garage, UK garage, she's definitely in her bag there, and she has like hip hop and jazz influences. So. Really good artist, but we're talking about Sudan Archives here. Really good project. I would follow it up with Yesi by Jessie Reyes.
Yes, we have to talk about that because somebody actually reached out to me on Twitter and they were like, you guys need to talk about this album. And I was like, okay, it's a new drop. I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't listened to Jessie Reyes in a while because she's been making music for a minute.
Yeah.
She's been around.
I hadn't listened to her since like I think 2017. So when you got that recommendation, I was like, yeah, I'm down to check it out.
And
for sure.
When I was listening to it, like it has a lot of pain. You may notice.
Anakuanga.
Like, how are you constantly heartbroken?
No, see, those are the kind of musicians you like. You pour all your pain into the album. You invite 6 Lakh, who wants us to call him Black, but like if you wanted us to do that.
Let me give you the best argument against calling him Black. Do you call Tupac Z-Pac? Exactly. It's Tupac.
But it doesn't look like a Z.
Okay, what is it supposed to be?
It doesn't look like a Z. It's a 2. So you say it as a 2 because it's 2.
Then a 6 is supposed to...
6 as a B.
That's my point. Like, you can't read a 2 as a Z and you can't read a 6 as a B.
You can read a V as an A. That's the kind of confusion people are trying to fight against by calling him 6 Lakh.
His name is 6 Lakh. His name is not Black. It'll never be Black. His name is 6 Lakh. If anybody calls him Black, by the way, you work, nigga. If you're telling people, have you listened to Black? I don't know who Black is.
I know.
But if you ask me, 6 Lakh. I know that nigga.
So that settles it. It's 6 Lakh.
It's 6 Lakh.
And what was the last project I listened to? Walk Away by Pip Millet. Lisa, you can listen to it after Sudan Archives and after Yesi by Jessie Reyes. So yeah, that's my roundup. Nimekuwa nikichill sana, so that's my chilling music.
I feel like before I get into mine, like the Jessie Reyes album.
What did you think of the subject matter?
No, there was so much, like I was hurt, you did me wrong.
Her homies did her wrong.
Yeah, everybody did her wrong, apparently. Like, but I understand it's the music that sells, because even her older music was a bit in that direction. But I feel like the songwriting could have been tighter.
I feel like when I think about people who write about their pain in a way that's like, I don't know, like it's transcendent. You can acknowledge your pain, but also move past it. The Sudan Archives project was giving me that. Like, she's homesick. She actually wanted to name the project Homesick, and then decided, Natural Brown Prom Queen because of her manager. But like, she's moving through like a lot of difficulty, having moved from where she lived to Los Angeles, and now like unpacking those emotions is both a mixture of joy and sadness. I feel like I thought that's where Jessie Reyes would have gone with this, but like I also feel like these albums still have a place in people's hearts.
It's not a bad album.
Yeah, it's really.
I wouldn't say like
I love the production. Choices.
Yes, it wasn't a bad album, but again, you can start once you go through it once, twice, 3 times. You start to see the frayed ends of where like things could have just been tightened up a bit.
Yeah.
Like and could have been made better. But ideally, I recommend it. I recommend it to listen to it.
It's a really good listen.
Kwanza kama umeachwa. Like if your ex has done you wrong, your baby daddy isn't paying child support. So that is the album you need to listen to because
betrayal beats.
Bust the windows out your car. Shout out to Hila.
Also, Jessie Reyes has this. She has a way of articulating her pain. The way that her voice is, I don't know, it pierces. Yani. That's exactly the kind of project you want to listen to when you're crying very loudly in the shower.
So for me this week, what was I listening to? Rendezvous by Genevieve. She's dropped a new EP. Really nice. Very easy listening, I love her type of R&B. It's so smooth and buttery and unafurahia tukisikiza. Send Help by YDE. It's a EP by she's a pop artist. I think it's her first record, but she's also like one of those Disney kids, who's trying to transition. So she's going under like a pseudonym while releasing her music, and it's bargain bin pop. Like that's all I can say it is. It's not
bargain
something.
The
problem with pop is almost all of it is bad. But when it's good, it's really, really, really good. Like there is a very fine, like the error name. There's a very thin line between very good pop and absolute trash. Like you just sway a bit. The margin of error is very small, and I feel like a lot of people don't get that.
What do you think the fine line is, if you could describe it using an artist to contrast? Who makes good pop
Bruno
all
Mars.
the time?
The Weeknd.
Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny, like Rihanna to a sense.
Rihanna made good pop, yeah.
When she was making music, I don't know, like I feel like it's more the people who are behind the boards, the people who are outside, like within the artist's sphere of influence, other than anything else. Because like 100 million people can sing. They can all sing to her. Like there are much better singers than Rihanna out there. I feel like the people out there, the producers, the writers, the guys who are like creating the melodies, all those guys, like they are the X factor that a lot of these like up and coming pop artists don't have, because for them it's just them and one producer and one guy, and it's like, oh, this is good to go, let's just put it out. So I call it bargain bin pop. I wouldn't recommend it really. New Blood Orange, aka Dev Hines.
New Blood Orange.
Yes.
I didn't know.
It's an EP called 4 Songs that is literally 4 songs long, and as usual, Blood Orange does not disappoint. I've listened to him since like 2013. When I found out like, kumbe, this is Dev Hines, I was like, okay, what's going on here? But anyway, New Blood Orange, go check it out. Natural Brown Prom Queen, banger, as you said.
Straight banger.
Interestingly enough, kazi kwa vijana, Mr. Luan Kinkabi.
Really?
Yes. Lou was in his...
Okay, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts now.
Lou was in his very, very, like, lo-fi bag. And Kabi really stepped up to the plate. Like, he elevated himself from what he usually does.
Yeah.
And it's one of those Kenyan projects that a lot more people should be listening to.
It is.
Because again, Mr. Lou went to the jungle and became like a shaman and made all this amazing things. And I'm not lying because he lives in Ushago.
Maze, shepherding our way to the promised land of great lo-fi music, great lo-fi beats. We've always been a fan. Okay, personally, me, I've always been a fan. So.
And I think that the pairing works much better than I would have expected.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I would like to see them work again. But as usual, on a much shorter project, I do not like...
No, I feel like it's 17 songs, but it's also 35 minutes.
That's the thing.
It's very short when...
It's short, but it feels long.
What do you mean? Because of the beat switches? Why?
Because there's so many breaks.
I knew you were going to complain about that. How did you know you were going to complain about
Exactly. Me, like there's so many moments where there's a break and your mind now has to transition again. That's why it feels long, even though it's not. Because a 36-minute album with 6 tracks doesn't feel as long as a 36-minute album with 17 tracks. Anyway,
But kuna interludes and them anyway.
Okay, yes. I've talked too much about this.
Still a great project.
Yesi by Jesse Reyes. We've talked about it.
Yes.
And then this one wasn't a new release. It was a revisiting of Babyface Killer by Freddie Gibbs. I love that project. I love it so much. 2012 me is screaming. If you haven't listened to it, please go and listen to it. It is one of the most perfect examples of what gangster rap could be. Like it is, if you can take the pure essence of gangster rap and distill it into a project, Babyface Killer. And literally, yesterday was its 10-year anniversary. Okay, it's 9-year anniversary. 10 years since it dropped. And the next Freddie Gibbs album is coming out next week. We'll actually be talking about it on the next episode.
I love the features on the Nini. We've already seen the track list.
Yeah.
I dropped it last week. I'm really excited. I've been falling in love with Freddie backwards, so...
Bald-headed. Anyway, that's it for new releases. I think we spent too much time on it.
Yes.
But...
Ransom. You've talked about it?
Not yet. I haven't listened to the new Ransom. But I will get to it. Anyway, now, one of the things I saw this week that really Sumbua was it academics? I can't remember who was saying. Was it academics or somebody else who said that Chief Keef does not have an impact on hip-hop? And for me, I was like, Chief Keef is one of the most impactful like rappers of all time.
How do you measure impact? Is it by the number of kids that like have been influenced by him to, I guess, start their careers, or like memorable flows? What creates impact?
For me, my definition of what I would call impact would be, you can draw a line back, like to a point, and then you can realize that this type of thing started here.
Yeah.
Like I can trace a phenomenon back to its original, like its origin, and it starts at this artist.
Okay.
And this artist, when kitu alifanya, it changed how everybody perceived hip hop. Because I asked you like who's on your Mount Rushmore of like most impactful artists. I can give you mine right now. There's the Mount Rushmore again, 4 artists on top. Mountain in the US, Kauju, I don't blame you. Anyway.
Yes.
I'll go in chronology.
And is it per? Sorry, I took issue with it because I needed to find out. Is there a way to like have? Sorry,
no, continue.
Intercept, but like I really want to understand how your Mount Rushmore is going to be built, right? Is it on the basis of eras? Is it on the basis of?
Like me, on my basis of the biggest tonal shift in hip hop. So.
From when you started listening?
Yeah, like from all the music I've listened to. Because I've listened to a lot of hip hop, like from music from the 80s, like early 80s, all the way to now. And I can tell you the first person who's going to be on my Mount Rushmore is Rakim.
Oh, I was hoping to God. If you didn't say Rakim, I would have walked out.
Because, Rakim changed the whole like way people rap. Because before him, guys were...
people write.
Like these are the breaks. Like they used to rap like Curtis Blow and Kina Africa Bambata.
Yeah.
But him, he brought in like internal rhyme schemes, multi-syllables, and you can see his impact in like the way even Nas made his music. Because when Rakim dropped Paid in Full in, was it 87? Yeah, because when he dropped Paid in Full in 87, people started rapping like him. People, like they completely abandoned the way people used to rap before. The whole like very simple rhyme schemes and just hitting a rhyme at the end. Rakim had this intricate patterns woven into his raps, and it really influenced the next generation, because Adi Leo, there are still people who are rapping in the same exact way.
Yeah.
And it all started back in 1987 because this dude decided, okay, I'm not just gonna rap as everybody else. I'm just gonna try to make it a bit more complex, a bit more, nuanced, a bit harder, just so I can stand out from everybody else. And people noticed it.
I'm gonna step in because I'm actually reading his autobiography right now. It's called Sweat the Technique. I stole it from Gatia. It's a really good read. And he was talking about how when he finally decided that that's what he wanted to do with his life, he decided to step into all of these bags, trying to understand what makes all these great people great. Like he wanted to create his own style such that, the way like we have a Kitchenada type beat. Now you can reference Rakim's style by ear. You can reference the way that like he creates his rhyme schemes by ear. And I guess a lot of people have also mentioned that they've been influenced by Rakim. I think A$AP Rocky stands out to me because he was he named after Rakim even?
I don't even know. But
yeah, I'm definitely for that.
On a technical level, I don't think there's been an artist who has influenced like hip hop as much as Rakim. And
True.
That's why he's the first on my list. Number 2, it's very easy. 50 Cent. 50 Cent changed the way we perceive what success is in hip hop. 50 came into the game. He was the first person to always say, like, I sold more than you. He was the first person to make it look like this is more than just a contest of skill. This is a contest of who has the most money, who has the most flash, who has the most recognition. I have this label, I have this, that, this and that. I'm making these moves. That's when it became cool to not just be a rapper, but to be a mogul.
Okay.
Because, you know, like Jay-Z was doing it before.
Yes,
but even when Jay-Z was beefing with Nas, nobody ever cared that Jay-Z had sold more than Nas. Or like, nobody cared about who sold more, who did what. It was always about who could outsell the other person. It was always about a contest of skill. But 50 came in and said, fuck your skill. Like, I don't care if you're better than me, I'm richer than you. He changed the complete perception of how we measure success in hip-hop. It becomes a thing of like, Zamani, an MC was only as good as how skilled you are. And it was like, okay, sales were a secondary thing. Like, you are really good, you're always going to get a label to sign you. But now, an MC is judged a lot more on how much money they can bring in compared to how skilled they are. And 50 Cent was the first person who realized, like, I want to be judged of the things I do and not the way I rap. That's why in 2007, when he did the whole thing with Kanye, it was like, who will outsell who? It wasn't a question of who is better than the other at the actual, like, skill.
Yeah.
They didn't have a battle, like, because when DMX and Jay-Z did a battle to determine who was better, like, somebody wins, somebody loses, and that's the end of it. But 50 came in and said, no. We are not going to be doing this. This is how things are now I'm going to move from now on. I have more money, therefore I am better than you. And had this easy, everybody, like, the whole measure of success is I have more money, I sell more than you, therefore I am better than you. It doesn't matter how much better you are. You could be like the most intricate, like, have the most amazing patterns and rhyme schemes, but I sell more than you, therefore I am better. I didn't say
is
the
that
impact
in the 2000s specifically?
Mpaka saizi.
Was B.I.G. not doing that? It's more gangster rap, less about like your business acumen as a rapper or what?
B.I.G. was more like, how can I put it? B.I.G. yake ilikuwa, B.I.G. carried himself in that very smooth, suave way, and I think it comes with the persona. But 50 was like a bully.
Oh yeah.
Unaelewa? So he came in and said it doesn't fucking matter what you do. I have more money than you. That's why when he came into the game, he was the number 1 rapper, and people would talk about, okay, he has this great debut album, but he also has Vitamin Water. He has this, he sold this, he did that, he has this deal with Reebok. That's when all these other things became got equal weight to the conversation at the same level of skill. No. That's number 2. Number 3 is, and then Pia, okay, before I get into number 3, 50 Cent also made mixtapes. 50 was the first person to actually start like massively distributing his own mixtapes and getting success of that. Like, guys were doing it in the South, like in Houston, in the New Orleans area. But 50 was the first person who had like, I've been blackballed, I have been gotten out of the industry, I've gotten dropped, I've gotten shot. I'm just going to start selling tapes from the back of my car. And he's the first person to parlay it from just having a mixtape and being a local rapper with a mixtape to becoming like, taking your mixtape to inakupeleka from X to fucking superstardom. Because in 2003, I think more people knew 50 Cent than knew Jesus.
That's the craziest quote, man.
Number 3, as much as I don't want to talk about him, just because his antics have been really weird recently, it has to be Kanye West.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I want to hear what you have to say about it first. If
Kanye needs he subverted the expectation of hypermasculinity in hip hop. He made it cool to wear the sweaters.
Be yourself.
Yeah, he made it cool to just be yourself, make the beats, and become successful at it.
And then burst the Tyler, the creators of our world, and
You can just draw a line all the way from Kanye West to, like, from Tyler, the Creator, Kid Cudi, all these artists who are doing music on their own terms. You can draw a line to them, like, without Kanye's success,
to Kanye.
Without Kanye's success and influence, you would not see these people blowing up. And finally, Chief Keef.
Okay.
Chief Keef's entire sound.
You're a huge Chief Keef fan also. Yeah.
Chief Keef is ahead of the curve. I'll always tell you that. He's always 5 years ahead of the curve. His entire sound has been co-opted all over the world. All over the world. To the point where it could leave Chicago all the way to like London, all the way to Rome, and then come back to New York. Like, drill started in Chicago, in like O Block. The first people making drill music was Kina Chief Keef, Glory Boys. Those were the first people making drill music, yeah. The first major drill song was I Don't Like. That was the first drill song to ever blow up. And him, Fredo Santana, Little Risi, Jihabo. Jihabo actually was the first guy to actually use the East Italia, the UK style beat. Yeah. He did that in 2012. So
the UK style beat isn't even the UK style
Yeah, it isn't even UK. It started in Chicago. So for him, his sound has traveled so far.
It did.
And spread so fast that we have literal variations of a sound that started with him. Regional, like there's even Kenyan drill. Have you seen like what Kina Nani are doing, Yotog and Kofi Jama, what they're doing in Ghana? There's Ghanaian drill, there's Japanese drill, there's Korean drill. All these little sub-genres and offshoots of what he started. And I feel like in terms of just genre bending, that is an amazing thing. He is up there with all of them. He might not have as much like mainstream success as like maybe 50 or Kanye, but in terms of like the streets will always have Chief Keef.
They will.
And again, who has a better intro than intro, Love Sosa? Motherfucker saying Chief Keef ain't about this Chief Keef.
So I have a few okay, not suggestions, more like questions. I am not going to create my own Mount Rushmore for reasons best known to me right now. But there are a few names that I wanted to bounce off you once I saw the topic itself. T.I.
Wow, he's up there, by the way. He's up there. Like, you could make a case for him, but I don't know. I just feel like his longevity hasn't been as good. Because when T.I. was T.I., he ran the game.
Do you think his beats dated his raps? Like the beats haven't aged well. They were like from a certain time. They were for that particular period. The same thing you said about Nas a couple of weeks ago.
Because I feel to a point, yes, because you have to judge a project on its entirety.
Yeah.
Because there are certain songs that will always be timeless. Like you can play Rubber Band Man anywhere, and it'll still bang. But still, there are other songs in those projects where you feel like you're listening to a project from 2005, and that's not like a bad thing. Everything exists in its own like little time. But yeah, it feels a bit dated. And also, I don't think, even without him, I think the South would still have been as successful.
3-6 Mafia.
Yeah, you're giving me hard ones. Because me, I love 3-6.
No, if you're talking the South, then we might as well just
okay, I could bring in 3-6. I could even bring in Outkast. Because the South would not be anything without Outkast. But
true.
I feel like the Southern sound and everything that's going on in the South right now, it still would have evolved with or without this artist in a certain way, in the same direction. I know they're important, but if you were to remove them from the conversation, I don't think that the path would veer off as much as you would expect.
Q-Tip.
Okay, yeah, to a point.
Or Tribe, basically, just a Tribe Called Quest, because you don't feel like there's a sound that we are hearing right now in rap specifically that has its roots with a Tribe Called Quest sound.
And I think that's like a resurgence more than anything else. I feel like a lot of people who are making music now are now looking back, because it's been long enough that there are people who have been born who are making music who never experienced it, like a Tribe Called Quest music in its form, in its true form when it came out. So they're looking back and revisiting these old classics, and now they're being inspired again, basically, yeah. So it's like a resurgence more than anything else.
Okay, sawa, nimemaliza.
No, by the way, you can disagree with me if you want. You can argue with me. I mean, I love to argue about these things. But again, Rakim, 50 Cent, Kanye West, Chief Keef, I don't think there's been a bunch of rappers who have influenced like rap and popular music as much as those four have. Anyway, there's something else you want to talk about before time runs out. And I remember you told me it was Nini. Concert organizers. fucking up like concerts by having really bad lineups?
So
State your piece.
I'm not going to talk about the event itself because
Sama tu jina.
it's the second time we're talking about it on this show. This is
Okay,
free
but
PR.
they're not paying us, by the way.
Give us tickets at this point. I don't like what's happening to the Thames gig. Not because I don't feel like the artists on the lineup don't deserve it. Like that's besides the point. But I feel like when you're having a Grammy award-winning,
Yes, I think she's on.
yeah, she has. She definitely has. Wait,
Yeah, she did. Josie too.
Billboard chart topping.
Yes.
Tufikiria zenye tunaweza pull out from the top of our heads. You have her coming, and there's nobody that like can complement her sound on the lineup, on the set list.
T.I. performed in Kenya, yes, a few years back.
Yes, he did at Jameson. I wanted to talk about that specifically.
Yeah.
Like, there's a certain level of event curation that we've already experienced, and that builds, I guess, it builds on being a memorable event, right?
Okay, yeah. But I just want to say, like, it stems the second, like, Billboard person with the Billboard #1 to perform in Kenya, because I think T.I. has a Billboard #1. He does. Live Your Life was #1. Yeah, so Thames is like the second person to ever have a Billboard #1 perform in Kenya.
To come to Kenya at her prime, basically.
Regardless, even without, like, I don't think Kerry Hilson ever got a Billboard #1. I think she performed a few years back. I'm trying to think of artists.
Designer.
No,
Designer didn't.
Panda didn't hit #1. Or did it?
I think it did.
Panda hit #1.
Yeah, to confirm.
To confirm, might be okay.
Ty Dolla $ign came. Anyway, as we talk about Jameson and how great they are at event curation, I feel like the thing that we're missing here is the fact that, like, if you're bringing an artist like Thames, you're building on hype, right? Why not put her next to artists that would also be able to build on, I guess, the memorability of the event itself? Not that Brooklyn Boys won't be able to do that, not that Kagwe Mungai won't be able to do that. I'm not seeing any of that. Like, the thing is, if these guys have already been booked and the event has already been settled, then sour. But you've already shown us that you listen to your fans. You changed where you're doing the event. Like, all those things have been discussed. Why not find an R&B artist that would be worth platforming at this time? Like, I feel like when you have a musician coming into the country like that, putting them next to an artist that they would also be able to, I guess, link up with, probably perform something with. Maybe I don't know. I keep thinking about what events are about
I get
for the artist.
And it ruins the vibe. Something,
it does. Period.
It ruins the vibe. Because you go to an event and let's say again, like Afrobeat R&B artist.
Yeah.
The person opening for them is a drill artist. I get it. They're good.
I feel overwhelmed sonically. I feel like a sonic theme is very important with some gigs.
Yeah, because the person who's curtain raising for the main event will give off a really different energy from the person who is going to close the main event. And kitu ingine important sana, you do not want the curtain raiser to do a better job than your main eventer. Period. That's very important, because if somebody who is a curtain raiser is coming out with all this energy, getting the crowd really, 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 really hyped, and then your main event inakuja tu mellow down, a lot of people are going to remember your curtain raiser more than they do your main event, and they paid money to come see your main event. As a promoter, the best part of the show has to be the closing. It always has to be the closing. I remember
also, it doesn't mean that they have to perform at midnight.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Get people, like, curate the experience like a playlist. End
to end, yeah.
Like a playlist, because you would not want a playlist where... Because there are people who like, okay, kuna watu wanapenda kusikiza tu hits. I've met people who only listen to hit songs. But at the end of the day, when you're creating a playlist, you're creating a theme, a feeling. You want it to flow in a certain direction. Especially
with music like Thames. Like, you wouldn't want her to be, I guess, saddled next to maybe a Karun, maybe a Zinia, maybe a Mayamolo. Just
maybe. And also, like, if you also want...
I don't know.
There's so many people like Mutori, and you don't have to go with those guys, because again, I remember people have to buy tickets. Chris Kaiga wouldn't be out of place in that gig.
He wouldn't
be out of place, because his music is not, I wouldn't say similar, but are along the same vein.
It is.
There are artists you could actually book who would be in they would be in line or just like adjacent to what Thames is doing, Instead of but again, it comes to the age-old question: do you wanna create a great curate an experience that is great, or do you wanna make money?
Exactly. And if you wanna make money, then okay,
yeah,
so I guess you've done your thing.
Capitalism wins.
But like there are people that would really care about the kind of musician that they're coming to see, and if you've ruined the experience for them, then you're never going to get their money again. Or okay, that might be stretching it, but new kweli too.
Or there could be the notion that who gives a fuck who's on the undercard? They've all paid. They've all come here to watch the nini. They've all come here to watch the main event. Yeah, that could be the notion, because there are guys who do not give a fuck who's on the undercard, who do not care who's performing, who's DJing. Them, they're just here to do two things: get drunk and see the main event. So there could be the notion that we're selling tickets for Thames. We just need an undercard. They could fill it with anyone. They might as well fill it with guys who are popular.
That's in line with like going to a wedding and working all the food you can find on your plate, and then working a watermelon on the top, because like
what do you mean?
No, like if you want to just put artists together like that, then like that's
Mashakura.
Exactly, it's Mashakura. Period.
Imagine your promoter is giving you Mashakura. You should be mad.
Like,
how much is the ticket?
I don't know.
A lot of money. That's what I do know.
It's coming up soon anyway, but we're looking forward to Oktoberfest at the end of the month as well.
Have there been any other artists announced for Nini? For what's it called? For the Thames gig? Or is it just Brooklyn Boys?
Brooklyn Boys, Kagwe. I think MGM will also be there. There are a couple of Amapiano DJs. As
usual. Mm-hmm. But the events in Kenya is kind of awkward. We're going to talk about that next episode. Because
like there are certain things that need to change. I think also just because there's been a whole break between the pandemic, where people have gotten to explore the things that they really like, and they're really going for niche events a lot more. So this whole Mashakura thing, it's not going to stand for a while. People are going to say a lot more things against it.
People are just stupid, and and they'll just go.
Okay, hype gang. Me, I don't know. Like, I think I've also gotten older during the pandemic, so like maybe I just don't like being confused with so many things. I just want.
Have you seen the?
If I go for hip hop, I've gone for hip hop.
Maybe seen Ile Mimi, old man shakes fist at cloud.
That's me.
Like maybe we are the ones out of touch.
Maybe the kids are loving it. Me,
probably.
I don't know. So tell us what you thought as well of.
And again,
of the lineup.
I'm waiting for them to announce the Oktoberfest lineup.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a really dope lineup. The last time I was there, the show was amazing. I was leaving on Sunday after listening to Samido. I'm not even Kikuyu, Maze. I was vibing to Samido at 3 a.m. And I was like, hey, this is fun. Going to the office, you're leaving the event at 4:35. You have to be in the office by 8. Mungu na mimi.
I didn't go last year, but I
didn't go for the. I don't count last year's one.
Niko na press release up.
Yeah?
Oktoberfest.
Are there artists mentioned?
Yes, they mentioned the artists.
Mention a few of them. You don't have to read the whole thing.
Wow. As has now become Oktoberfest tradition, the event will feature an all-Kenyan artist and DJ lineup. You see, like themes that people can follow are great, because you also know how to dress for the event, Anyway, let me just finish reading this bit. Among the artists on show at the events will include Calligraph Jones, Major, Nadia Mukami, and many more. Jaongeza zile zingine. So I guess we'll know
those
as the month
you see
continues.
Again, those are the big names.
But tickets are already on sale, so do check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you know? Because I think leo tumeongelea vitu kidogo sana. Oh yeah. The last thing you want to talk about.
But
by the
I guess we're growing.
No, tunaongeanga udaku off camera. I can't afford a lawsuit, by the way. I can't afford a lawsuit. True. I do not have the funds at the moment. Niko under severe austerity measures. Meaning like Greece when the economy collapsed. As in, I can't.
Wait, I had a question based on my favorite babes of all babes, Future. Recently sold his masters. A lot of people said that he was not making a good decision, especially knowing how many bangers he has, especially now at this point in his career. But like, what did you think, I guess, from your understanding of the music business?
I do not advocate for anyone at all selling their masters. Do not sell your masters. Selling your masters is... Hey, how can I put it? As an artist, owning your masters is one of the most financially important things you could do. And I don't know if he felt maybe that that's the most value you could get for his masters because do you know what's happening do you know who's buying the masters, by the way, first of all? VC, venture capitalists. That's what they're doing. Like, they've invested in so many food delivery apps, and they're like, okay, we need to start doing something else with this money.
Buying people's music.
They're buying people's masters so that, and somebody pointed out, you're going to hear Future's music in so many things right now. You're going to hear them in commercials, you're going to hear them in movies, in so many little avenues. They're going to license the fuck out of those masters. And then, when it comes time now to negotiate with Spotify, with Apple Music, with all the streamers, all the streaming platforms, Future amesha lipwa. Now it's these venture capitalists who are going to charge you an arm and a leg just to get the music on the platform because now they own the masters. Utashtukia, like, you can't find Future's music on a certain platform anymore because they can't afford to actually pay the licensing fee to get the music on there. That's what happened with Pianani. Justin Timberlake sold his masters recently. It's like...
Okay, but Justin's kind of twist. I don't know.
No, I think...
So bad.
Nah, I think like Justin Timberlake a point where I think he doesn't really care about making music anymore.
Yeah.
And he got... How much did he get? 75 million for it?
That's crazy. I was also just thinking about how I know like T.I.'s verse from My Love, like front to back, and I didn't know that that's something I had in me until last night. But
T.I. also wanted 75 million
makes
for
sense.
his masters.
Okay, no, makes sense for Justin Timberlake, I mean.
But for Future still has like bangers in him. I don't think he's transitioning to do anything else. But I think he sold his masters to his point. Sendio.
To do something, to invest.
How much did he sell it for?
I think it was also 75, 60 something to 75.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the people who are buying the masters they're gonna make a lot more money from that shit than Future would have, like the 60 million. Like even in Kenya, I've seen artists sign away their rights to their music for like 3, 4, 5 million. And you know, for an artist, kwanza when you're starting to make it, and this distributor or this label approaches you and tells you, here's 5 million. You've been struggling, by the way. You don't have a formal job. You don't have money. 5 million. Same talking patia 5 million. Saizi. It's life changing. So when you're giving an artist 5 million, unamtoa kulipa rent. Like, he moves out of his hood immediately, goes to live in a better place, buys a car, starts a business. But at the end of the day, when you sign that 5 million deal, you are like the label, the guys who actually own now your label, like your content and everything, they're going to make 50 million off that. So, but it's all about capitalism. I would not recommend anybody to sell their masters. But I'm not in a position to know Future's financials or what he's thinking. There's merit in it. Like, if he feels that 60 million, whatever he got, is good value for his music, because he gave up like
it is what it is.
So many records. That is Pride, like The Wizard, Evil, so many, and it is what it is. Yeah.
there was that entire run where he was, I think, releasing a new project. Was it every month? It was like a lot of music.
When Nani broke up with him.
When Ciara broke up with him.
And then he left Hollywood and came back to Nini, went to Atlanta. Yeah, he was giving us bangers like it was Jesus.
On that piff. Tulikuwa tunakula.
Hey, live mixtape. Miss kwa that piff.
Agree to disagree.
So yeah, don't sell. If you're an artist, don't sell your masters. And incidentally, before we even finish, last episode we talked about like label and no label. That was on Monday. We record on Tuesday. I had an interview. Not an interview. I met with an artist, somebody I know, and they were telling me how they want to get out of their label deal. And they were asking me about like the music I've recorded with the label. How do I get my masters? And I was like, first thing you need to do is, before you do anything else, just talk to a lawyer. Do you have a lawyer? Did you consult a lawyer before you signed your contract? And then they were like, no. Then I was like, that's the first thing you need to do. Get a good entertainment lawyer. Not just any lawyer, a good entertainment lawyer. I recommended one.
You should create like a resource though. I feel like that's something we can do as Breaking Hertz. I know a lot of lawyers. I'm sure I can find some that would be willing to do.
A good entertainment lawyer. Go through your contract, look at every clause, go through everything, and then talk to the lawyer about what you want to do. How do you want to leave the label? Because I know some labels will ask you to buy out your contract or pay them back all the money they spent on you, which could be an amazing amount, kwanza, when for an artist, like, because they could be asking you for like 200, 250K, because they've covered all costs, promotional costs, recording costs, and as an artist, you could either look at that and say, I could buy myself out, or I could just wait for the contract to lapse. But it's a decision that you have to make for yourself. But again, Don't sell your masters. Don't sign anything without reading. Don't trust the record label.
Don't trust the record label.
You're not Future, by the way. You don't have that leverage.
He's already figured the point where it's easy money.
For him, yeah.
Like he'll still be able to make bangers for years to come.
And he's only sold his catalog to this point.
Yeah.
Anything else he puts out after is still his.
I think he knows his own value, like the way that he'll be able to, I guess, bounce back from this sale.
Sindio.
Yeah. He has many more years in him, I believe. So.
Many more kids too. Anyway, this has been another episode of Breaking Hertz. Thank you for being with us. Tell us in the comments, what's your favorite Future song? Yes. I'd love to know that.
Or your favorite Future project.
Yeah, either or.
And who's on your Mount Rushmore as well.
Tell us all that.
Yeah.
Make sure to catch all the other content on the channel. The mics are open. The Wildcard with Venant and Eric. All the stuff Grouchy is doing. The Wake Up Call. Lockdown sessions. And yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.